No, you don't.
God doesn't love all?
Hey, somebody get Romans 9.
Perfect.
That's not scriptural, my man.
God doesn't love all?
That's not scriptural.
Nope.
That is not scriptural.
Jesus loves all? He's racist.
This is Romans.
Jesus isn't racist?
Yeah, check it out. Look at. Hey, I'm gonna read out the Bible for you. It's Romans 9:13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved,
But Esau have I hated.
Romans 9:13. As it is written,
Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
that's straight out the Bible for you.
Hey, the Lord hates, man. And who does he hate?
Get Joel 2 and 27.
I got one for you. This is John 17:9. It says, I pray for them. I pray not for the world. It says, but for them which thou hast given me, for they are thine. Alright? So the scripture just said that he prayed not for the world, man. Alright?
Hey, your God hates. I'm gonna ask you a question. You hate, don't you? Don't you hate? Stop lying, man. You a liar.
Hey, hold on. Somebody, no, not I got the God of the Bible. Somebody get a, matter of fact, I get it. Come over here, man.
Your God hates?
Come on over here.
Yeah. The only God hates.
The God of the Bible. Come over here.
God hates?
Yes.
Are you going to come over here and read this or not?
I can't read.
Okay, I want you to tell me this. I want you to read this yourself. Because obviously you weren't listening to him.
No, I am.
Okay, so
I just can't believe God.
So what does that say right there?
As it is written, Jacob I love,
Esau. So did I say that or did the Bible say that?
But who said that?
This is Paul speaking.
Paul?
Let's read it again.
That's not God though. That's Paul.
So Paul's not a
Malachi 1.
Can I read it? Can I read the scripture?
So you gotta wait here. So is the Bible not the word of God?
Well, the Bible's the word of God.
So when
Paul is not the word of God.
You know what? You need to go drink some more.
I wish I could. I wish I could.
Hey, God,
Yeah.
drink that off.
Damn. I fucking missed it. Bro, I think I turned it. Go!
This is Proverbs. And these Edomites, and once that come out, these Edomites don't believe in the Bible no more. You know?
Did you see the semantics he began to try to play? Right? No, because that's what they do, man. They try to deflect away from what brothers are reading, deflect away from the scriptures, and he trying to make it personal. So I had him read it for himself. And all of a sudden, Paul's not a man of the Lord anymore. And if you got a question, come down here, my man.
Why do black folks, why are they Jews or do they want to be Jews?
Okay, hey, hold on, brother. All right, first of all, he said what he told you was right. Look at my skin. Look at my glove.
Yeah.
Is my skin black or is my glove black?
Skin is not jet black, no.
It's not. But is any black in my skin? Is it black?
Yeah.
Really?
What?
My skin is black.
Well, I don't know what word I would use to describe it then.
Brown.
Okay. There's melanin in there, more melanin.
So melanin is black now. He's just as dark as I am. I'm almost the same complexion as that man. Would you call him black?
No.
So
Maybe it's,
So-
a,
so
maybe it's
what
a
I'm-
convention I
what
have that I haven't
What I'm trying to
questioned.
get you to understand is that what you just regurgitated was a made-up social construct. It's a made-up social construct, man. Black and white. It's totally made up.
Okay.
All right. It's not real. No one's skin color is this color, especially mine.
Okay.
Okay. Let me find somebody who is dark. Is his skin black or is it brown?
Brown.
Exactly. So why would you call him black? Because you've been taught that. It's a social construct. All right? Would you call yourself white?
Germanic.
Look at the cup that's in your hand. Look at the cigarette that's in your hand. Your skin is not the color of the casing on that cigarette. As a matter of fact, you're kind of red and pinkish. And you know that the Bible describes a red and pinkish man?
Yeah.
And it calls them Esau. That's what it says. Matter of fact, somebody read it real quick. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is that your notions, what you came up here with a thought process, And the process that you're using is your thought process has been that you're thinking of is all based upon falsehoods, made up social constructs. Right? People are brown and people are red. You got brown people that go from a light brown to a very dark chocolate brown. And then you got people that are different shades of red, like you. Okay? Point blank period. That's it. As a matter of fact, let me give you a little history. All right? In 1681, in the state of Virginia, it was subscribed into law, a new class of people. And you know what they started calling themselves according to the law?
Negroes.
No, whites. Whiteness was invented in 1681 in Virginia. All right?
I don't know if I buy that.
Well, you need to go and look it up.
I don't know if that's the correct interpretation.
Just go and look it up. That's not this is accurate history. And for the first time in law, or any time in American law, was a classification of people called white. It was in 1681 in Virginia. All right, in the state of Virginia, they wrote it into law, and that concept spread across the whole world after that. At first, it spread to the other colonies, and then it spread to the whole world. All right, and it was done to create a social construct because in 1681, the Negro and the Native American were both considered niggers. They were considered copper-colored people. Copper-colored people. If you took a penny and you put it beside the average Negro and the average Native American, there wasn't no difference. There might have been some differences in their hair, in their texture of their hair, but as far as their skin, it wasn't that big of a difference. Right? The Native Americans that you see today are the subject of being raped over and over again, and intermixing, a lot of time forced. That's what. So, nevertheless, those two people were considered the same at that time, man. Right? And you can look this up.
Well, was that consideration correct?
What do you mean?
That they were considered the same?
It was labeled. It was labeled because they are. But nevertheless, that they were labeled that by the same people who prescribed to themselves the name of white. This whole white thing, all right? Because no one's skin color is white. No one looks like your color. No one is that color. There's not a human being on the planet that is that color. That is a lie. It was a concept. It was a concept that was created, my man. All right, in 1681. Yep. All right, and as a matter of fact, you can
talk about the Banford riots.
No,
riots.
No,
like
but it was.
1677.
It was in 1664. From 1664 to 1681. But there was a riots called not the Banford, the Bacon
riots. Sorry.
Yeah, right. The Bacon Rebellion, exactly. Okay, with the whole slave and indentured slave, blacks and whites were together, serving slaves.
Mostly Irish.
A lot of the Irish, but it wasn't just mostly. It was a lot. It was more Brits than Irish at that time. The Irish actually started coming over in droves later. It was more Brits at that time. All right, but nevertheless, that's where that concept comes from, Slovakia. And those people who prescribe themselves as white, their biblical nationality is Esau Edom. They are the Romans. All right, would you not claim Alexander the Macedonian as one of your great forefathers, one of your icons in history?
They're related. I mean, I'm more Germanic than I am Mediterranean.
Nevertheless, but he wasn't from the Mediterranean.
Macedonia is Mediterranean.
Yeah, but he wasn't from the Mediterranean. He was from Edom. Okay, put it this way. You just said that you're more Germanic, but where do you live? Where are you now? Exactly. But you knew that. So just because Alexander was in the Mediterranean didn't mean he was from there. It's just like they say to the Negroes, they call them Africans, knowing that they weren't from there. Because you probably were told, and you probably have regurgitated, well, you sold your own people. Have you not ever said that in conversation?
Well, slavery happens all the time.
But that's not the subject matter. The subject matter when it came to the Negro slave trade. Have you not been told or ever said that, well, those people sold their own people?
Yeah, I've been told
exactly, and that's a lie because the people that got sold weren't from there. Just the same way that Alexander wasn't from Macedonia, the same way that you know that your roots go back to Germania. It's the same thing. So that was a social constructed lie by the same people who prescribed themselves as being white. They told that lie. They put that in the history books. But the Bible tells you who they really were. So does history if you just did a little bit of research. It's not a difficult thing to figure out.
Well, I'm going to have to look into it because everything I see from genetics doesn't seem to...
Genetics is look, DNA can be falsified, it's been proven. All right, and you can only accurately trace genetics back, I think, 3 or 4 generations. You can't go back thousands of years. Carbon dating is also a false science. It's a pseudoscience.
I don't know about
It's a pseudoscience. It's all based upon theories, and theories are not facts. And that's what the man who prescribes himself as white has done. He takes theories and turns them into facts.
That's right.
So he'll put something in a book, and then it becomes fact. You know, if you tell a lie for long enough, it becomes the truth, right? That's what happens. So they told the lie about these people that were sold on the ship. They get Deuteronomy 28:68. Because the people that went on those slave ships from Africa, they were not Africans. That's why they got sold. It was the Africans, the Arabs, and those same people who prescribed themselves as white. Those 3 people got together. Get Joel the 3rd chapter. Those 3 people got together, and they descended upon those refugees that were dark complected people, but not from there. They surrounded them, captured them, and then they sold them into slavery.
But could you do me a favor? Do the Deuteronomy 28.
This Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68.
Right?
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
Now Egypt, I know you don't know, so I'm just going to tell you. Egypt means the house of bondage. Somebody give me a scripture to prove it.
I got you right here.
Read.
This is Deuteronomy 5 and 6. I am the Lord thy power, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage.
From the house of bondage. So when the Lord said, I would take you into slavery again. So he was talking to the Israelites here. These are the curses that were promised to befall the Israelites for their disobedience. So he's letting them know the last curse of the book of the curses. He told them, and lastly, you shall go into slavery again, but this time with ships. Read.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Right.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
It is the land of Israel. All right. So the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. By the way, there are maps in West Africa from 1783 called Negro Land. And you know what was on those maps? Fort Judah and Fort Benjamin. Fort Judah and Fort Benjamin. So why would a bunch of Africans be calling themselves Judah and Benjamin? Exactly. Read.
No. Could it also be that the Bible's a lie? I mean, why not?
All right, well, if you know what? If you don't believe in the Bible at all, because guess what? All your presidents swear in on it. If every government office in America takes office by swearing in on this book.
Well,
Every one of them. So if you don't believe in the Bible, then there's no reason for you to be
Alexander
standing.
the Great believed in the Bible.
Yeah, he did.
That's how he knew which land to conquer. That's right.
Exactly. Because Christopher Columbus knew that there were Israelites over here. That's why he came to this land with 5 Hebrew interpreters, even though he was looking for Indians. He didn't come. He didn't come here with people who spoke. I don't know what you even call it in Indian language, but he didn't come with interpreters that speak with the dude with 7-Elevens and Dunkin' Donuts speak. Christopher Columbus came to America with 5 Hebrew interpreters because he knew he was going to encounter Hebrew-speaking people. Facts. Look up Mayor K. Surley's book, man.
Yep.
All right?
Check out 1492. He told him. He said that he knew that there was people on this side of the world. He quoted the book.
Herod believed it.
Yep. Yes, he did. He quoted 2nd Ezra. Yes, he did.
Rhyme of Sabbath,
All right.
Lost Tribes in the Promised Land.
Matter of fact, it cost you about 10 grand for that book. And I paid $30 for that book about 10 years ago. And now that book costs you about 10 grand. Why? Because we've used it so much and use it on YouTube. And that's what they do. They take the price up so that people like you or anyone else who cares to go and look to try to prove us wrong can't go get the book. Because the average American can't even pay their damn car payment.
That's right.
So they're not going to go and spend 10 grand on no damn book, man.
Who's Esau, Edom?
$1,000 a month. Andrew Yang.
All right? So go ahead, brother, finish that.
It says, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
Well, so it said that these same people who got put on ships, who were not Africans, all right, and got sent into slavery on ships, they were sold to their enemies. Read.
For bondmen and bondwomen.
For a slave man and a slave woman. That's what bond means.
And no man shall buy you.
And no man shall redeem you. That's what buy means. No one's going to redeem you from this. It was promised that would happen. That was a curse that was placed upon, all of Israel. And guess what? The slave trade actually started with the so-called Hispanic and Native American. Right? Because when Christopher Columbus came over here, all right, the first thing he did was he took Taino Indians What you recall with Puerto Ricans today, they took them back to Seville, Spain as slaves. Thus began the slave trade. So it didn't even start with the Negroes, so-called. It started with the so-called natives. That's facts, my man. That's facts. So when we tell you that we are the 12 tribes of Israel, the Bible tells you so and history tells you so. They just didn't put that in the books that's in your schools that you went to. Just because they didn't put it in textbooks in Cornell University and in Harvard and Oxford. Actually, it is in a lot of those books. All right, but they're not going to give that information to the general public. All right, because I have an Oxford dictionary, 2 sets, and the book is so thick. The only reason I don't use it is because you actually have to use what do you call it, a magnifying glass. It's useless to me because I can't put any of it on camera. But I can still get information out of it. Okay?
I got it.
You got Joel. Oh, go ahead and read that. Then we get Joel.
Perfect. This is from Babylon 10:2.
That was written by a scholar.
Rudolph R. Windsor.
Rudolph R. Windsor. Read.
It says, in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem.
Right.
In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrageous and atrocities were committed against the rest of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery.
That was your population of people in West Africa that have taken into slavery. They fled into Africa to blend in with those dark Africans to hide from the Romans. The same way Moses did, the same way who the world actually calls Jesus, his mother and father did. They went to go blend in with other dark people. You can go ahead, man. They went to go blend in so they wouldn't be captured. Why? Because there's a similarity in skin texture of the actual Hebrew Israelites from the Bible and the Africans. Because if the Jews looked like you and went to Africa to go hide, well, we weren't talking about modern day South Africa, Johannesburg. I don't think you'd have hid too well. You'd have stuck out like a sore thumb. All right, that's why, exactly. Remember, Moses grew up in the house of Pharaoh. Okay? He grew up in, which means what? He was passing for an African.
His brothers couldn't tell the difference between him and the Egyptians.
Hey, Joseph. Right. Well, Joseph was right. Joseph, well, he went into captivity as a young man and then became a ruler in Egypt. And when his 11 brothers came to Egypt, to Africa, they didn't even recognize him. Man, he was grown with a full beard. They didn't even recognize him. Or he probably had a bald face. Good, I'm glad you ducked, you ugly.
Just a couple hypotheticals. Okay? Why is the Bible true? Like, what's the evidence?
Well, matter of
the Bible.
fact, okay, here we go.
Okay, yeah.
Because it gave you history of things that happened before it happened. It's called a prophecy. It prophesied, it told you something would happen, and an exact thing happened in history. And that's just one account. That's just one. The whole history of the world can be found, include, well, you know what? Somebody showed me an Apocrypha, and then somebody showed me a King James 1611. I know. All right, this is inside of there, and it always was. And they removed this because it gave you names. As a matter of fact,
I thought it was removed because of the Protestant Reformation.
No. It was removed because it gave you names and identities of people that they didn't want to attach the wicked to being a part of. Because it gave you clear, and it kills the Christian doctrine. Because it makes it clear in this book that the Lord don't love everybody. It makes it clear that there was no virgin birth. It makes it clear who the Edomites are, who the race of Edom is. All right, and it makes it clear that they're going to be destroyed. And it makes it clear you can come through, and it makes it clear who the wicked are. The wicked is not just any old just bad person who whatever. The wicked is actually a race of people, according to the Bible. A particular race of people out of the 18 nations that was created. One of them was created to be the wicked. And the Bible said that they would be the ruling class people in the latter days, in the end of days. When you got to the latter times, when World War III would happen, that particular group of people would be the ruling class people, according to the Bible. As a matter of fact, your president that's in office now,
he's a puppet.
Well, all of them were, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they used scriptures out of the Apocrypha in his inauguration.
Well,
and that they all have, where's that 1611?
They won't Edomite that dog?
And that every president Every president from George Washington until present swore in on his 1611 King James Bible, Apocrypha included, man. Apocrypha included. So the Apocrypha is that information that like the gangster in court knows you have the information that's going to condemn him, so he sent his goons to get rid of you. That's what the Bible Destruction group did. The Bible Destruction group are the ones that set out to all that false propaganda about the Apocrypha and the Apocrypha, and it's going to show you how we say that the Lord is so cold with it. You know what Apocrypha means? I know you don't, so I'm going to tell you.
No, it's missing books.
No, almost close. That's a very good wrong answer. All right, what it meant, what it means is to be hidden away, to be sent away hidden. So the Lord knew that they would hide these books. He prophesied it. He named the book Apocrypha. So the history of this book, like I said, and then the history of this book is found in your encyclopedias. We could go get encyclopedias, and it's going to show you Alexander, Antiochus, Epiphanes, Cassander, all the history of Rome, Seleucus, Demetrius, Cleopatra.
So how do I know that the stories in the Bible 2,000 or 3,000 years ago are true?
I just shared it with you. But you believed all your Britannica encyclopedias, though.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm not a skeptical person.
The point has been made, man.
Because you know what, when you read Genesis 10, right, it gives a list of the nations, what they were called. Up until recently, they changed some names. But some of these nations still go by their names.
That's right.
Like the East Indians, I read, they know they were the Persians. They know they were Elam.
Yep.
You look up like Sennacherib, he has a prison. They call it Elam.
Yep.
Ishmael, the Arabs, they call themselves Ishmael still.
Yep.
All right, the Midianites, the Syrians, these are nations in the Bible.
The Somalians know that they were Cush.
Yeah, they call
The Ethiopians know that they were Cush.
That's right. They call themselves Kemet.
So they still know. So some those nations are still here. But you know who? Give me Genesis 49 and 11, because your forefathers, the Edomites, because you are an Edomite, my man. That's right. You are an Edomite. And what they did was they changed all the names. You know why? Because Edom has been trying to hide their nationality for 1,000 years.
My ancestors were not Edomites. My ancestors worship Wotan and the gods of the north, the Hyperborean gods.
The Germans are Edomites. All right?
Genesis 49.
Whether you can accept it or not, it's the truth, my man. We'll get to you next. We'll talk to you. We're very friendly.
What are you talking about?
Well, let me let you get going. I'm gonna reconsider it because I consider all views.
Okay.
I think about it.
I challenge you to go look it up. And then you know what? And then I'm gonna and you know what? After you go look it up, I invite you back. And then we'll talk about it again. Go look it up and come on back. All right.
When I see you again, I'll
okay. I look forward to seeing you again.
As you can tell, I read a fair amount.
Okay. All right.
Take it easy,
okay.
Sir.
Please. Have a good day.
Thanks for the open dialogue.
You're welcome.
Step on up.
I don't want to.
Who's next?
Come forth. Come forth. Come forth.
I love it.
Step forth.
Cometh fortheth.
All right. No. So now, what is your question?
I'm curious what you're all here talking about.
Okay. What we were talking about is history. And
I love history.
And the whole history of the Bible is.
I don't know the Bible well.
Well, the whole, but that's okay, because the whole history.
I know the Old Testament better than anything. I interrupt. Sorry.
That's okay. The whole history of the world is written in the Bible. All right, and we can identify everything and who the nations are through the Bible.
The Bible identifies nations. The nations change.
No, the nations have changed. There's a certain group of people who change the names of the nations. They're just like he just said before you walked up. There are nations on this earth that still bear the names that they did. Step back just a little bit if you would. So all right, there are nations. Look, there are nations in the Bible. All right, that still go by the names that they did in the ancient times.
I think that's awesome.
All right, so what that means is that everyone else was changed, and there was a particular group of people who changed. And what I was sharing with this guy here was when the social construct of black and white was created. All right, when it was actually created, it was a social construct that was created. All right, do you know the time frame when it happened?
Not particularly.
But you know it happened.
I know. Just the discovery of the East, we'll say. So we'll say 1100s.
Okay, well that's a pretty close wrong answer.
Good guess.
I'm gonna give you the proper answer. It actually happened in 1681 in Virginia.
Okay, so we're talking about slavery type
Well,
stuff.
well, there was slavery going on.
Because we learned about different.
Well, there was
races.
slavery going on at that time, but it wasn't. But the slavery that was going on in Virginia, for the most part, because the true
They came over to
the
Jamestown in what 18 or 1709 or 17.
Well, let me share with you. The true chattel slavery was still in the South. What was really going on up north was mostly indentured slaves.
The first, oh, yeah, but
All right,
they
it was
brought
indentured
the first
slaves.
ones over
The
to Jamestown.
indentured slaves were mainly so-called black
Well,
people.
they were white, though,
Chinese,
indentured
white
slaves.
ones too, and they all were working together. They all went slavery together.
And
All right.
at least they got their freedom in the end.
Well,
of that indentured
some
servitude.
people did, but certainly not the black ones, because they ended up going into slavery.
I know.
Let me-
In Jamestown, Virginia, they like one of the first settlements and everything. The first African slaves that they brought over were. I can't.
Okay, well let me correct you on
Come
that.
on.
Let
Y'all gonna
me
come?
correct you on that. All right. First of all, let's get this straight. The people who came over here on slave ships from Africa is written in the Bible, and
And they were stolen from the Portuguese.
they were. But listen to me. They were not Africans. That's a lie.
Where
They were
they
Israelites. They were not from Africa. They were from the land of Israel.
I didn't know.
They were refugees from the land of Israel living in Africa. That's who they were. And then since they were dark people, they started calling them Africans, because just like I shared with him, you were told in school that Africans sold Africans, correct? When chattel slavery, when hardcore.
I do know history a lot more in depth than just what you're told in school.
Okay, but nevertheless, is that not what this was taught? Is that not the general information that's taught in
Usually
America?
it's the English or the Portuguese or the Spanish, for the most part, bought people from their colonies in Africa.
Okay, hold on. Before they set up colonies in Africa, this is before that. All right, this is before that time. That came after the time period that I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when you open up a history book and you're talking about it in grade school and high school in America, or even in some
You
colleges.
learned that it was all came from Africa.
Am I lying when I say that? That
No,
what
not
you're
at all.
taught in those schools is
It
that
all comes from Africa.
exactly.
So you're trying to get the point across. That
So
they
what
came
I'm
from
saying is
Israel
that
as well.
their history goes back further than that. The people who are actually being put on slave ships from Africa, on the west coast of Africa, being brought to the Americas,
We're
to
just
the
as
islands,
much African as
they-
Israeli.
they were not Africans at all. They were living in Africa, but they weren't from there. They were refugees in
I
Africa.
didn't know that.
Of course you did.
Well, I love learning.
All right, so
That's why
matter of fact, let's go right back to that prophecy. Matter of fact, let's go to Joel first, and then give me
Is
Joel.
this Old Testament or
This
New
is Old
Testament?
Testament.
That's my favorite.
Okay,
This is
It ain't
Joel
gonna be
chapter
real
3,
soon.
verse 3.
right,
It says, and they have cast lots for my people.
right. So they cast lots for the Israelites. You know, when they go 25, 35, 35, sold to this gentleman right here.
So is this-
sold to this woman right here, and they
is this-
they bring me on over in the chains.
So is what your question? I'm sorry. I talk too much. I interrupt.
You've been drinking, it's okay. And you both been drinking, it's okay. Because
But no,
he's a
but
silent drunk.
Yeah.
Talking.
I'm sober and I'm still.
And we're
talking
sober.
All right, so no, let him finish. Let him finish. I'm getting the
Oh,
point
I
here.
apologize.
It says Joel chapter 3, verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people.
So they cast lots for the Israelites. As a matter of fact, America, the Wall Street and America was started up, all right, off chattel slavery. That's how America got its money. That's how it became the wealthiest, most powerful nation in the world, was off the backs of these people.
Is
Read.
what you're trying
And have given a boy for an harlot.
Right, and they gave a boy for a harlot because if you watch the movie Goodbye Uncle Tom, they will show you how they were selling the young boys and oiling and greasing them up and turning them into homosexuals, putting makeup on them. Read.
Question.
And sold a girl for wine,
And they sold a girl for wine, right?
that they might drink.
So that and they did drink, and it's a fact that
No matter who that is.
they were trading musket guns and wine. That's what
For
they,
a person.
exactly, and that's what they were giving musket
So it's
guns
what
and wine to those Africans. All right, go ahead.
I asked. Sorry. I felt.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So is what you're trying to bring about is, or be known as that it isn't just Africans, it was Israel.
It was Israelites. They were never Africans. They got labeled as Africans. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Not ever.
Africans were not being sold into slavery. Africans were selling Negroes into slavery. And Negroes have been, and Negroes were originally called Israelites. And they started calling them Negroes.
When did they first go to the like Israel area?
They went there and bring out their book again. They went over there.
It says Negroes for sale.
That's right. You notice Africans never. Listen to me. Listen to me. Africans never referred to themselves as Negroes, and they still don't to this day. They still don't to this day because they're right. And then so that term was put upon them. That term was put upon them. All right. That was put upon them. They were.
Put it back in the big bag.
Sorry, I get close and I talk.
It's okay. It's all right.
No, I'm honestly curious. But
That's okay.
Would it be a mix of all over, whoever's wherever?
Well, when you look at it that way, I mean, it's been the world is completely mixed at this point. It's hard to find a pure blood anyway.
Point, if they
and
were
the
from
dude
Israel,
with the blondest hair and the bluest eyes, it's still not a pure blood at this point. Just because he looks that way, all right?
Exactly.
That probably is a pure blood left on the planet. All right,
the only one. There's maybe 3.
As far as never having, and if you look down that family line, you're never going to say anything in that family that just wasn't the same. There's always going to be somebody else in there, thrown in there somewhere down the line. That's what I mean when I say that. But
is there question?
Well, hold on. Let them get you ask it. See, you ask a question, and then when we start answering the question, you never let it finish.
The question, and it makes me think of 10 more questions.
All right, and so you got to we got to do all things decently in order.
That's right.
All right, so that we don't get all over the place. Go ahead.
All right, this is from Babylon Timbuktu. All right, it says in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD,
what year?
65 BC.
Okay.
The Roman armies, that's when they first captured Jerusalem.
Okay.
Now we jump ahead to 70 AD. General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the rest of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews...
And it was way more than that.
And in general, they had so many slaves.
But just listen to it.
Over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution.
So that part of the history it just kind of got skipped over and left out.
Kind of is.
That's how West Africa became so populous, because West Africa was full of Israelites.
It was a refuge.
It was a refugee for what? For Jews who had fled from Roman persecution. That were hiding among the Africans, and they leave that part out of history. And then they lie about it and say that Africans were selling Africans, knowing that they were a different.
Were Africans still selling Africans?
No, they were selling Israelites.
Can I read this?
They didn't sell, one African didn't sell another African brother. They sold only dark Israelites. That's
really?
what read.
It said,
Come on.
Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves.
So the Jews were actually black. They were never so-called white people. That's a made-up lie.
The Jews have just always been down on their luck forever.
Because Jewish people are converts.
What's the real Jews?
Us. You seeing us now?
He just read to you about them. They got sent into slavery.
So people who are Jewish,
they're
are
converts.
from Africa?
No. People who are Jewish are converts. They're not. That's why this sign is here.
So-called. Most people, like, I have ancestors that are Jewish, and
then that means that they're Edomites. They're converts.
I'm mostly Catholic though now, but then
that doesn't change anything. Catholic and Jewish are constructs made up by men. You won't find the word Catholic in the Bible. It doesn't exist. Exactly. All right.
This is Revelation 2:9. I know thy works and tribulation and problems, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but the synagogues of Satan.
So who's been running around the earth saying that they Jewish for the last couple hundred years? Right? Exactly. So the Bible told you that
I don't know the Bible.
Well, what I'm telling you, he just read it. The Bible told you that there's a group of people that saying that they were Jews, but they're not. And when is it? And that's
but if you practice a religion, why are you
no.
part
You see,
of that
because
religion?
because look, listen to me, Frank.
I am.
Judah, all right, and look, in 1783, there are maps that you can go on your phone right now and Google them and look them up. And there were maps of West Africa, and it was called Negro land. If not the rest of Africa, only West Africa.
So that was
Because the new label, right, the new label for the Jews
May
now.
I ask one question though?
Okay, go ahead.
I totally get what you're saying there, but why is it if they did not originate from that area, Judaism is not a nationality?
Let me get to know it's not. It's a religion.
religion. So about people even if you aren't from that part of Africa, if you still practice it.
But that's what I'm trying to explain to you. You see, your question was irrelevant, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I was about to explain to you that Judah is a race of people. Judah is where they get the word. He was from the tribe of Judah. But but you gotta understand the word. Where do you think the word Jew comes from? What is it? Exactly. And Judah was a tribe of people who happened to be a dark race of
But you
people.
didn't answer my question though about if you aren't from West Africa and practice Judaism.
That's what but you're not listening. Judaism. Listen to me.
I'm sorry.
Judaism has nothing to do with being Judah. As a matter of fact, people that worship.
So you're talking about Judaism as almost as a nationality type?
No, I'm not.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to understand.
Listen to me. Listen. The tribe of Judah are one of the 12 holy tribes.
Okay.
Right? They got sold into slavery on slave ships. They were not practicing Judaism. Judaism is a religion that a people gravitated to, which really don't even follow the Bible. They follow the Talmud. They follow a whole different book. So Judaism, so they don't even really follow that. That has been used as a shield because in the last couple hundred years, they started saying that they were the actual people. If you go back far enough, if you go back to the 12th and 13th century, they weren't saying that they were the real Jews. They were saying that they were Jewish. That's what the suffix ish means, to be like. It means the suffix ish means to be like. So what they were doing is they were taking the tribe of Judah, all right, and then they try to make it like there's not another 11 tribes. All right, you can't call a Simeonite.
12. What's the 12?
You're looking at them.
I thought you said 11 tribes.
No, I said another 11.
Oh, okay.
And 11 more. All right, so it's not the 12 tribes of Jewish. It's the 12 tribes of Israel. And each one of the tribes has their own identity. So you can't call someone from the tribe of Simeon, you can't refer to him as a Jew because he's a Simeonite. You can't tell someone of Ephraim, you can't say someone who was Ephraim, who is an Israelite.
Okay, but this is an argument.
We're not arguing. We're not arguing. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I'm just very passionate. These men are very passionate. Believe me, I'm holding back the reins. They're like,
I'm not trying to argue.
No, it's okay.
Anybody.
Just say what you gotta say.
It's honestly all curiosity. I keep doodling.
Say what you gotta say.
No, okay. So it doesn't matter what branch. It's only if you're from Judah, which is from West Africa. But okay, say we're talking different religions.
But there were 3 tribes in West Africa that fled there though.
But
It was Benjamin, Judah, and Levi.
A correlation here.
Okay.
Curious to learn.
Okay.
Christianity, there's so many different forms of it. What's the different Protestant?
They're all false. Wait, find Protestant in the Bible.
Okay.
Here, real quick. Give me Acts 13 and 1.
I need to go back to theology class.
No, you need to go get your money back. Give me Acts 13 and 1. Matter of fact, you need to go find your theology teacher and just slap the hell out of him for lying to you. Give me Acts 13 and 1 and Acts 11 and 26.
Oh, you got the books all out?
All right?
There's the book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 1. Now there were in the church that was in Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that were called nigger.
They were called nigger. All right? But they called the prophets nigger. Why? Because they came out of these 3 tribes. Because think about it.
So all the other ones are, what you're saying, are they're
that's still
practicing them,
Israelites.
but they're false.
No. I thought you were talking about on the side here. Hold on.
I'm sorry, I guess I'm just not.
You got to let it come out first. Read it again.
Acts chapter 13, verse 1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called nigger.
They were called nigger because the word nigger just simply means dark. It didn't mean the negative connotation that it now has. 300, 400, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, it didn't have that connotation. It was no different from saying the Latin way Niger, or saying Negro, or saying black. You were just describing someone who was dark complected.
Moreno.
Okay.
And that's all it meant. It didn't mean what it means today.
Like, yeah.
It didn't have the derogatory.
Like Nubia.
No, that was not. It
Okay.
wouldn't have been described
I was
that way.
trying to make a, I guess.
Oh, well, you were trying to make a
Mine
correlation.
Yes.
You were trying to make a correlation.
Southern.
But all it really meant was someone who was dark complected. Nothing more. It didn't
That
have.
is a good
It was actually pretty good. But it didn't have the negative connotation that it has
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Now go to the other.
Don't yell it.
11:26.
Don't yell it. I can hear it.
The book of Acts, chapter 11, verse 26. And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church.
So the people were ascending themselves with the church. This is a church right now. That's what the real true meaning of church is, what you're looking at it, not a building. Matter of fact, does somebody get Acts 7:48, 17:24 to prove that? Read.
And taught much people.
Right.
And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch.
So the only true Christians are the Israelites. Right?
That's
Because
something-
because the Bible just told you that the prophets were called
Even just the
nigger.
fact that
Listen to me. The prophets were just called nigger, right? We just read it. That's what they were called. All right? And the prophets were what? From these three tribes. From Benjamin, Judah, and Levi.
Question.
Okay? Hold on. And we're making a point. All right? And then it told you that same gathering of those niggers, when they were first called Christians in Antioch. Why? Because they were gathering like this, waking up their people. Basically what you're seeing is time repeat itself. The same thing that was happening then is happening now. They get the 12 tribes are gathering, and they're gathering in the midst of the captivity, in the midst of their enemies, and telling their people to come back to their true nationality, to come back to the Bible. That's why we're out here. That's what we're doing. Because we've been labeled as Puerto Ricans, we've been labeled as Mexicans, we've been labeled as Negroes, we've been labeled as all these things.
do
When
you have something, a good book that I could look up?
The Bible.
That's not
All right.
help me.
I got a precept for you.
Go ahead.
This Baruch chapter
Please
2.
go get food.
This Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people.
And these people are
May I
very
take a
hard
picture
headed.
of the sign?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
That'll help me find something to look up then.
Okay.
And it says,
I'm not getting any of you in a don't.
but in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves.
Right. It said in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. I got a good book for you. It might cost you a lot of money
I can
if you
still
can find it.
There's
But it's called,
archives.
it's by Ronald Sanders, and it's called
I want to see a fight.
Promised
Come on,
Lands.
do it.
I don't think
Well,
anyone's
we're
fighting
not,
at the
we're
moment.
not fighting right now, bro. When the fight comes, it's gonna come to him, and he's not gonna like
Most
it.
definitely.
But it's called Lost Tribes and Promised Lands by Ronald Sanders. All right, and it goes into the history. He pretty much.
I've got a PDF on here.
Okay, good. Lost Tribes. Here it is. Matter of fact, this very book right
Can I
here.
take a picture of it as well?
Absolutely.
I love
You know that this book costs you about
references.
10 grand now.
Well, I'll use the
Now-
I'll use the PDF.
But basically, in this book, what he did. Let me tell you something about Ronald Sanders. Because I paid $30 for a book just like this about 10 years ago, and that very book costs about 10 grand now.
Well,
All right, why?
I would have to go.
Because of what we're doing with it, and we're able to prove that the Northern Kingdom are Israelites. All right, but now I was about to say something. You spoke and it threw me off. But anyway,
You were saying the Northern Kingdom.
oh, right. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Ronald Sanders. Ronald Sanders was a guy like you, and he heard this and was like, "No, that can't be true." And he actually set out to try and
That's
prove.
why I like to look at
So
it.
he set it out to try to disprove it, and then when he started
And
doing his
he was-
research,
he couldn't disprove
he
it
was
then.
like, "Holy shit, this is the truth." And that's what that book is about. He gives you all the evidence, records, written history, written records, and basically he came to the conclusion that those people that when the Americas from Canada to Brazil were the lost tribes of Israel, which is what we've been saying. The so-called Native Americans and the so-called Latinos, they indeed make up the so-called lost tribes of Israel.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all the same.
Well, we're gonna go get food, but I've got the picture of that in the book, and I really love learning new things.
Okay, well, good.
So,
all right, well, then you guys.
I cannot give my own opinion, I guess, because I don't know enough. If that makes sense. I need to go read that couple $1,000 book.
Yeah, you do.
There's a PDF, so.
Okay, well, good luck with that.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Have an amazing rest of your day.
Yeah, thank
He
you.
might be an Israelite.
He was humble as hell.
He an Israelite. Hey, and I was gonna cut him out and just tell him, like, the bottom line is the white man is the devil, right? The Israelites, and he might be an Israelite. She was just horny, man. She was
Yeah, but that was done for edification's sake. Because I wanted to cuss her out, but we got people that are watching, that are learning, and so all that information can come out. As a matter of fact,
that dude was humble though.
He was humble. He also was terrified too.
Oh, most definitely. He said Big Rude back there looking like the messenger all smart.
He was like, man, if I get out the
they would blot out the sun. Big Rude back there, man. Hey, but yeah, hey, these people, hey, we be made a spectacle to these people, man. Everybody want to know what's going on. Going back to what the brother had, Benya had started off with, that Ezekiel 37, man. They watching that exceedingly great army, man, being rose up, man. And they don't know what the hell to do, man.
That's right.
They see the claim of fame, and they see you guys chosen people.
Hey, you just said the word. I was just about to say, give me the scripture. It says I will give you fame and praise. Because whether you brothers realize it or not, man, we're famous. That's right. We really are famous, man. Right? We're famous. Now, there's some infamy that comes with that too. Right? We're infamous, but yet we're still famous though. All right? We're very recognizable, man. People are watching you brothers all from all over the world, man. Believe me. The whole world is watching, man.
Yep. There's a brother from India on the comment board.
There's a brother from India on the comment board?
Yo, he said Shalom.
Hey, Shalom, brother. Hey, take that up to the camera. Hey, because, we say it all the time, man. Our people are scattered, man. And even among the Indians, even among Elam, is our people, man. They got that group of people over there called the Untouchables, man. And a lot of those people are Israelites, man.
That's right. Who you say, Elam?
Yeah.
Hey, like they got the Punjabi hit squad. They made that song with Jay-Z. Mm-hmm. Them niggas Jake, man. All right, them Indians, them East Indians up in Hyderabad, India. Them niggas Jake too.
Yeah, I done seen them freestyle, man.
Bollywood niggas.
Yeah, like,
yeah, a lot of them from Hyderabad.
Did you read that out loud? Oh, read it out loud, bro.
I feel like it. There you go. Yeah, read it. I'll read it. All right, I got it.
This is a quote from Abdul Gamar Nasser, the former president of Egypt.
Thank you. 1951, if I'm not mistaken, when he said that.
Khan. So yeah, he was at a conference and he said,
you got to remember, just a couple years earlier, the land of Israel had been taken by the Edomites. And what scripture is that? That's Ezekiel. Is that the 36th chapter?
36.
Somebody grab that, all right? Because this had happened. Go ahead, read that, brother.
Khan, it says, when he was asked about peace in the Middle East, the late president of Egypt, Gamal Abdul Nasser, stated, the Jews will never be able to live here in peace because they left here black but came back white.
Right, exactly, man. So that's right. Hey, come on, man. Man, brother, moonwalk away. That's a cold cut. That's a cold cut. Moonwalk after the cut, boy. Drop the mic, slide off the stage. Boy.
Hey, and that's also a prophecy too. That's in the scriptures. That's in the book of Obadiah. He said in the read.
So Obadiah verse 1.
Because for that time he was an ambassador.
It says the vision of Obadiah, let's say before Yahweh power concerning Edom. Where have we heard a rumor from the Lord? An ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye and let us rise up against her in battle. And that like that German, that Temanite was saying, hey, this is all lining up, man. This is all prophecies and the secular history is right there, man. The artifacts, it all lines up.
Oh yeah, talking about how the Bible real. Hey, the first thing I would have told him is you and your people in rulership. That's how you know the Bible's real. Here it is, you the basis of all men. You can't sing, dance, fight, or fuck.
but you own everything on the planet of the earth. How is that, Sway?
You ain't got the answer.
In Daniel, the 4th chapter, in about the 22nd verse, he set it up all the kingdoms, man. He set it up the basis of men.
And they don't want to know that real history, man. They don't want to know that real European history. I'm waiting for Mike out to drop them bombshells with them books he got.
He would have claimed, if he would have asked him what that great German engineer who made those bombs, he would have claimed it. And that was a prophecy for Timon, man.
Yep, he would have claimed that.
We the ones claiming to be the law.
Exactly. That's a very good point, brother. That's a mic drop from on high.
He would have claimed that.
He dropped the mic.
Because he tried to not claim Alexander the Great, talk about Alexander the Great Mediterranean. No, he ain't. He went over there just like you them brats over there right now went over there. Alexander the Great from Edom.
Con, let's prove that in scripture. So Gabal now, the president of Egypt made a statement. Obadiah, and he fulfilled a prophecy in Obadiah. Now read that, brother.
In verse 2, then jump to verse 5.
Con.
Verse 2 to verse 5. Con. This is Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 2. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh power, because the enemy have said against you, even the ancient high places are ours in possession."
Right, so that's what they said, man. They said, aha. And they was happy about it, man. They said, we figured out how to get this land. We're going to perform it. Now, hit verse 5.
Come. This is Ezekiel 36, verse 5. It says,
as a matter of fact, they drafted up papers called the Balfour Declaration. And in World War I, that declaration was printed up. All right? And then in World War II, they acted on it. Okay? So in 1951, World War II was over, what, a short 6-7 years before that? All right?
Ezekiel 36 and 5, it says, "Therefore thus saith Yahweh power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea."
All of Idumea. All right, and Idumea is what? No, that's Esau, Edom. That's the Greek way of saying Edom. Who are what? The red Hebrew Edomites who refer to themselves as white people today. Read.
"Which have appointed my land into their possession."
Mic drop. All right. The Bible predicted that the red Hebrew Edomite would appoint the land of the Lord into their possessions. And so in history, and who did that? All right, because the prophecy in the Bible that when Israel goes back, it's going to be by the hand of the Lord, and the whole world's going to know. Right. These people did it through military might, through their own military might. They used their gift of the sword, also proving that they are Esau, Edom. Read.
"With the joy of all their heart,"
and they're happy over there, because I know that they can't wait for their next Tel Aviv pink parade. They're very happy.
They're getting their booties ready right now.
Yep, they oiling themselves up to make it easy. They don't have to buck break themselves. All right.
With despiteful minds to cast out for a prey. "Prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains and to the hills, to the rivers and to the valleys, thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and in my fury, because you have borne the shame of the heathen."
There you go. That's enough for that.
Hey, I got a precept for him, just because he brought it out, how they take the land into their possession. This is Psalms 49 and 11. And if this ain't talking about a damn Edomite, I don't know what it is. This Psalms 49 and 11. Perfect example, man. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever.
He wrote about like, I ain't do nothing. And they done knew I ain't do nothing. Because that's what they all, I ain't do nothing.
Yeah,
my family didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
We didn't have no slaves.
He walking past like fucking Tom.
You benefited from that false construct, all right? You benefited from it, man. All right?
This is Psalm 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They called their lands after their own names.
And they did that after the names that they prescribed to themselves. See, Esau prescribed them names to themselves, and then he calls all these lands after his own name, man. Yep. After himself.
Okay.
It says, I'm going to read 12 and 13. It says, nevertheless, man being in honor abideth not. He is like the beasts that perish. This is their way. Silaki, this their way is their folly. Yet their posterity approve their sayings.
Right. Hey, all their laws are still intact, man. How you not written to their constitution?
The black and the white thing.
It's all
they posterity.
Scripture say it's all still intact, man. So these young Edomites you see walking around today, they still guilty, man. And
That's
they
right.
forefathers, the blood is still dripping in it, man.
And they know it. That's why they talking about so-called white guilt. That's their way of saying they know they're benefiting off the system, man. All right, and that's why they can change about it. And this is Job 20. This is Job 20 and 10. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with his dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and forsake it not, to keep it still within his mouth. So Esau was the king of that, smiling your but put a knife in your back, man. They know they still benefiting off this shit, man. So talks and reparations is just talk. That's them having their wickedness sweetly, man. Their bones is still filled with the same nature that they have since they youth, man.
That's right here.
That's
this
right.
Is Zechariah. This is Zechariah 11 and 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherds beat them not. Exactly, so it was said, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Just like the brother was saying, the so-called white man is tripping, walking around tripping, all right, with the blood of the Latinos, the Native American Indians, all right, the Negroes on his back, man. All right, that's why the scripture says what? In the law, if a man be found in the hand of
Matter of fact, get that.
Stolen,
Somebody
get it
that.
in Exodus. I think it's Exodus 21.
21:16.
You know, that's why the scripture says in the book of Numbers, the land cannot be cleansed of the blood, but except by the blood of him that shed it. So they still walking around with this blood. Go ahead.
It's Exodus chapter 21 and verse 16. And he that stood at a man and suttered him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
He's caught, man. This is the thing. Esau's caught red-handed, and he doesn't want to acknowledge the fact that he's caught.
Cognitive dissonance.
He's trying to he's trying to be the one. He's trying to be the captain. What's the person that takes you the captor? He's the captor pretending to be the captain.
Yeah, right, exactly. This dude, he want to be the oppressed and the oppressor.
Right.
He's trying to, right. So, right, how were you the captain of the slave ship and you still the Israelite too in chains?
Right.
How the heck? That don't make no sense, man. How'd you get rich off the slave trade, but yet you a victim? Go ahead, brother.
This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 41 verse 7. It says, the children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. And they say that, basically they say, that wasn't us back when they took us to slavery.
I ain't do nothing.
Huh.
They done knew I ain't do nothing. It wasn't going into slavery.
It wasn't me.
You did do something.
But the same Edomite that was back then that took us to slavery is the same Edomite saying, I ain't do nothing.
That's right.
It was my ancestor.
They just got a cloak right now, man. They doing their wickedness a little bit differently, man. They got the police force, they got the stock market, they got you working every day.
Yeah.
They just put a cloak over their wickedness, man. You got more of that out? This Psalms 73 and 9. It says they set their mouth to the earth. They set their mouth against the heavens. And their tongue walketh to the earth. Who are the heavens, man? We the 12 stars, man. It says, therefore, his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are rung out to them. And so Esau's living it up, man. They got it all on this side.
That's right.
And they getting to see a full day of life. Hey, scripture, same chapter tells you there's no bands in their death. So they can't be the oppressed people, man. It says, and they say, how do Yahweh know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? So that's what that devil was asking, man. Like, he was really deep down inside asking, how do you all know these things? Why are these things true? Because they believe they got away with it.
No, that's what really
happened. That's what really happened. How are the things that Esau searched out? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
It goes back to that wisdom of Solomon.
That's what happened.
It goes to that wisdom of Solomon when the second chapter when they say he claims that the Most High is his father, that he has a relationship with the Most High. The heathens don't know that the Lord talked to us. Just like the St. Patty's Day, if you go back and look at the history of St. Patrick, he said that God talked to him. If you go back to Nat Turner, he said God talked to him. The only people on the planet saying God talked to him is the Israelites.
That's right.
So Rabbi Ravenstein is not saying that, and he's not doing that on the coming on the highways and byways. Where's the Jewish rabbi camp full of people professing the will of the Hashem?
Yeah.
I got the precept for you. Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 5. How is he numbered? How is he numbered among the children of God and is not among the saints?
Right.
Hey, you gonna be? Hey, that's all I gotta say, man. You saw this time to come up off that spoil, man.
Right.
This is Nahum 3:1. It says, "Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey the part of God." So like that Exodus they brought out, you know, and it says, if he be caught with a man, you know, he should surely be put to death, man. Here it is. You know, hey, they benefit, you know, of the labor that we have done. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to basically admit it, man. You know, hey, the scriptures talks about their fathers having inherited lies, man. You know, hey, but guess what, man? Hey, when the Lord comes back, man, we still gonna get caught in your hands, man, because we still here, man. You know.
I got to preach up for you, Iqbal.
Go ahead.
It is Ecclesiastes 3 verse 15. That which have been is now, and that which is to be have already been, and God requireth that which is past.
Hey, so what? Hey, so the Lord requires that which is past, man. You know? Hey, so don't scripture say every 4 generations, man. You know, if you receive it's reincarnation, so you are your forefathers, man. You know? And you are gonna get that recompense. Revelation says the double the cup, man. You know?
That's right.
Because they always believe they gonna get away with it. He'll solve. I mean, it's really get to a point, but here go verse 7. That's the point. Yet they say, Yahweh should not see, neither should a God take regard. Right? They think they're not gonna drink their cup and get their judgment because they think for the Most High, few Christ got
That's why they try to void the Bible. That's why they try to void the Bible. That's why when that German dude was up here, what did he always say? Oh, what if the Bible's not real? I ain't know the Bible is real. Because when you had us in chattel slavery, right, you had that big ass Bible. You had a big Bible saying, see, it is the law of the land. Like the elder said, all your presidents swelled it, and all of that, man. So now that it is, niggas are able to read and write, and more important than that, we got the spirit of power, Yahweh Shem Yahushua in us to break down the words of these scriptures. Now it ain't real. Now it ain't real. We were murdered for reading the Bible, man. We were force-fed Christianity, man. Christianity ain't the Bible, man. And you niggas gonna wake up to that, especially you stupid-ass niggas in the black conscious community.
That's right.
When all hell break loose, the damn black conscious community ain't gonna be around, man.
That's right.
Straight up, man.
Hey, them niggas ain't even around now.
They ain't around now. Right, you right.
That nigga Polite got the bag. He ain't been to one police brutality march since. He ain't that fucking eye horse painted on his eye.
Booty hole.
With the bullhorn.
Yeah,
That nigga ain't been to one since, man.
They slut. He told them niggas, he said, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, niggas.
Take money and ran.
Yeah, he was Floyd them now. He chilling.
Yeah, he gonna buy that Gucci.
He gonna buy that Gucci. That's not the truth, man. See, the men of the Lord can't be broken, none of that. All right, we the only people out here set for the defense of the gospel of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, starting with the elders and apostles on down, man.
Right.
And you niggas gonna realize that, man. You niggas gonna fucking realize that, man.
Right.
Coming up here playing schematics.
We warned you.
And you Edomites too, man.
Right. I got preach up for you, man.
Prophets warned you, man.
It is Ecclesiastes 3 and 17.